Yes, folks, get ready. Get your pizza, get your drinks, get your Heinekens, get whatever you want to make yourself comfortable. Because, yes, folks, we are entering the final episode of Boku no Hero Academy Season 1. Welcome, folks of all ages, children, ladies, and gentlemen, for the final episode of Boku no Hero Academy Season 1, Episode 13. Now, yes, folks, I am glad to actually watch this episode because of the fact that the episode was very entertaining in itself from the beginning till the end and leads its viewers wanting for more. But at the same time, it leaves the viewers satisfied because when at the end of the day, you want more or less of what you could say of the entirety of the chapters or the anime itself. But when it's done right at the end of the day, you're just gonna have to wait impatient and wait until another season comes by. And that's what I liked about this episode is that they didn't rush it. They didn't move on into another pacing or start a new arc. No, they finished the arc that they were actually within, and I love that. This whole entire episode was just done purely beautiful, you know. But let's continue on to the episode. Yes, folks, the episode starts off in still, All Might actually continuing to fight against the evil villains. Yes, All Might he defeated Nomu itself in the previous episode, but then he still has to face off against Tomura and Shigaraki. I'm sorry, Tomura, Shigaraki, and Kurogiri. And then I personally was kind of like, awestruck at the fact that, you know, what's gonna happen, because that's in the beginning of the episode. All Might is fighting them. You gotta remember that All Might has like a timer left over. After he just gave off like his plus ultra 100% special attack. You're wondering like, wow, he still has two major villains to face off against while protecting his students with no backup whatsoever. But then the episode continues on with itself with the teachers. Yes, folks, the teachers actually come in and help All Might because the fact that the villains actual goal was to actually defeat All Might no matter what. And they emphasize that in this episode. But once the teachers came in, the whole entire episode it just literally transitioned into a different pacing and continued to finish the arc itself. Because the minute the teachers come in, that's it. The villains are done. They got overpowered by the numbers. And that's what the villains weren't. They didn't really want none of that to happen in itself. And when you clearly see that the heroes come in, they demolish all the villains in 1 second. And I love the way the episode emphasized that the heroes, the pro heroes, they set themselves apart from the students and the villains themselves. They are clearly on a whole different level when they're actually being serious. Now, later on in the other half of the episode, like I said, folks, the first half is just the fight between All Might and the villains and with the heroes coming in, and then the second half of the episode then continues on with All Might talking to Midoriya about how things are going to be changing in the future. There's going to be greater things happening in the future. All like just it's the pacing was a little slower in the second half of the episode because of the fact that the episode was ending in itself, and I feel like the authors and the animators didn't want to show too much of another arc itself. Instead, they actually focused within the same arc that they stayed in, and that's it. Once they were done with this entire episode, that's it. That's all it is. And folks, yes, they actually showed a little spoiler alert at the end of the episode for second season, and I personally love that little spoiler because I was not expecting the spoiler that they kind of showed. I'm not gonna say it yet. I'm gonna say it a little bit later in the video, but yes, folks, they showed a spoiler that would involve a whole different arc in itself, and I am personally and can't wait for season 2, folks. It's gonna be done beautifully. I'm looking at Studio Bones, and they're actually doing wonderful with this whole entire season. And when you look back at all the episodes, you're wondering like a lot has gone through the whole entire 13 episodes, and yet so little has happened as well, which is so hilarious. Throughout the whole entire 13 episodes, I believe it was like about 21, 22 chapters that have just spanned on. but they were done beautifully, you know. And I gotta agree that Studio Bones is the perfect studio and animation studio. I'm sorry, that has done to perfect the author's signature work on screen. Now, back to the episode, of course. Sorry for digressing. Yes, folks. What I like about the episode was the fact that in the beginning of the episode, I love the fact that they give you a little bit of suspense and characterization for All Might, because the fact that his time limit was over, the villains still had a little bit, they were still energized and raring to go, and you see All Might still struggling. The fact that once his power is gone, he'll be done, and that's it. This episode literally kind of clearly showed a death threat, but because of the fact that I see how the author was kind of continuing with the storyline. They gave that much anticipation and giving that the viewer that much needed attention, so that the viewer can actually be stuck to watching the show itself. And yes, folks, the minute that you're watching that first half of the episode, you're gonna be stuck. I am not gonna lie to you. I was actually stuck. I was anticipating for the heroes to come in and save the day. And once they came in, the how does it call it, the background music, the changing of the pace, you're gonna clearly just gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe that they're finally here. Finally stuff is gonna go down. Some literally character progression is gonna go on, and literally the show is really like, it's just clearly going forward once All Might was done with itself. And Bakugo's actually character progression in this episode was shown a little bit as well, as he's the one that was kind of clearly looking at Midoriya, seeing like, oh, I can't believe he's done it again. He's always staying one step ahead, and they kind of show that, like, that Katsuki he's still jealous, and that's what I find hilarious, that he's still jealous of Midoriya, that he's always still being one step ahead, even though Katsuki still has a very powerful quirk. But that's not what the whole entire episode was mainly about. There's also major, I would say, very major points in the episode as well, where they kind of clearly on and went along and emphasized, where they show some of the students, they were still struggling, and they were going to be in a predicament where they can't escape. And they kind of show that the fear that these students are going to kind of invoke on them, so that way they can also progress later on in future episodes, because the fact that they're facing off in real danger, and in the face of life and death, these kids, they're going to be traumatized, or they're going to use this scenario as a way of gaining experience. And the way I see it, these kids at the end of the episode, they're using it very profoundly. And that's what I love about this episode, is the fact that it's just a very major moving point for every single one of these. And also, later on in the episode, we get to see this new hero. He's a pro hero, by the way, Cementos. I kind of like this guy, the way that he kind of admired All Might. It was so hilarious, the fact that when he looked at All Might, he kind of, like, you could clearly see that the pro heroes are actually within the keeping the secret of All Might against the students, because he kind of clearly helped out. And that's what's pretty cool about it, is that we don't know who else knows about All Might's secret. Like the author is just giving small hints at who and where or what time the people might know of All Might's own personal secret of how he actually originally looks like. And it's clearly, as we can see, the teachers are on game. We just don't know who, but most of the teachers clearly are on game. And I'm sorry, folks, it's just this episode was just wonderful. I'm just, like, excited for this episode. Once I saw it, my mind was racing. Oh man, I'm sorry, folks. I'm just literally just shivering in freaking excitement over here. Ooh. But yes, folks, like I said, the episode was very exciting. The first half, like I said before, was just pure action. Second half was just, it wasn't filler, as you could say. You could clearly see that it's more along the line of just stop and go talk. Like that's the way I saw it. And they even clearly show that, that, like, it's hilarious, the fact that not most of the teachers were fighting, but just some of them, just kind of showcase how, like, what teachers would be, like, represented as like a lot of the, you could clearly say, like how do you say, advertisement, you could kind of say, so that way they could clearly see that, like, oh, this guy might be a fan favorite. and I believe one of the heroes was Deathshot. He was kind of clearly being showcased as one of the pro heroes to literally probably might be a fan favorite from now on, even though he only had like a minute or two of fame right there in itself. I kind of find that funny. And there's another comical scene too with Yugo, as in where was Yugo throughout the whole entire episode, and you're kind of wondering as well, where was Yugo? Where was Yugo at? And I kind of speculated the fact that I personally think he might have been in the bathroom, or he ran away. One of the two, because clearly this guy was nowhere to be found. But like out of the whole entire episode, that was the most comical scene that I personally found in the episode, because the fact that where was Yugo? This he was the only one that was not fighting or shown throughout the whole entire episode. And I like the fact that the author kind of kept that a secret throughout the whole entire episode, because of the fact that there was so much going on throughout the whole entire episode that you clearly kind of forgot about who and where and who was there at the time. And when Yugo came out, you're kind of like wondering, like, oh, I can't believe this character actually exists. The comic relief character, where all of a sudden now he's very important. That's what I kind of found funny about this episode. They kind of emphasized at that fact too. And like I said, folks, that's it for this entire episode. It was very enjoyable. The music soundtrack was very good. Love the ending of how they kind of ended the whole entire episode, was because of the fact that they actually showed clips of the whole entire season, and like showing a little montage, as you could say, so that way they can kind of clearly say their goodbyes to the first entire season. And I like that. I like how the authors and the animators are going with the direct approach right there, as to like just literally say, it's a well done season, and it's just finished now. But yes, folks. And now I'm going to talk about the spoiler that was left over in the end of the episode. And yes, folks, I'm sorry for spoiling for all those folks out there that haven't read the manga yet. But we clearly see a new villain. Yes, folks, a new villain. And his name is the Hero Killer Stain. Holy snap, we're going to see him in Season 2. And I'm going to be excited when he pops up. I'm not going to talk too much about it, because I personally want you folks out there to read the manga. If you enjoyed this anime, please go ahead and help the author, and buy his books and everything, because the fact that the artwork that he does within the rest of the chapters on ahead is clearly good, and the story keeps progressing more and more and more. I'm gonna keep it short, and I'm gonna say that the Hero Killer Stain is gonna appear in Season 2, and that's what I like, in the fact that it's where the direction is going. Because the fact that the Hero Killer Stain he's going to join the League of Villains. Yes, folks, he's going to join the League of Villains, and he's going to bring some major damage to some of these students. Woo. He's going to bring in the sauce. He's going to bring in the juice, folks. Woo. Man. But yes, folks. And also, I want to kind of point out the fact that the villains themselves in this episode, they were kind of showcased that they clearly were losing. They at first, in the first couple episodes that they were introduced, they were unnerving, they were calm, but in this episode they were now showcased that now their unwavering calm demeanor was then gone after All Might defeated Nomu. And I love the fact that Tomura was actually, he was down on his knees, he was embarrassed, he was ashamed of what happened to him, because the fact that he failed his mission, and it clearly showed that he's gonna come back as a stronger villain. And it's clearly funny that he's the only one that didn't get captured with Kurogiri, and so you can clearly tell that these two are gonna be the central figures of the next season as well. Yes, folks, these two villains themselves, they seem powerful, but in my opinion, I always feel that Kurogiri is actually the main head of the League of Villains, or the League of Villains, I should say, because the fact that he didn't really unwaver. Yes, he was mad in this episode, he was a little frustrated, but he's a little bit more calmer and takes more control of the situation when clearly life is at stake. And that's what I like about Kurogiri. He's one of my favorite villains so far, that he literally shows a lot of character progression here. And he literally shows that he can literally be a leadership material. But he's clearly following Tomura, so it goes along to say he's a very loyal subordinate, you could say. But maybe later on in the series and manga, I'm kind of hoping to see him, go along and give himself a very leadership role. I would love to see that in itself. But yes, folks, to wrap things up, yes, this is a wonderful episode. Support the author, buy the manga, read the manga, and if you love the anime, go ahead and try to like expand yourself, and like I said, read the manga. It was this the anime was very close to how the manga was portrayed, and that's what I loved about the fact that they kind of clearly done that with Studio Bones. They literally had done this whole entire season very beautifully. Yes, folks, go ahead and read the manga. It's very good. uh, but yes, folks, you know, comment down in the comment section below and let me know what you folks think about the whole entire season, the whole entire episode itself. How do you think the pacing was? What was your favorite moment of the whole entire season, the episode? Let me know what your opinions are of the entire episode. You know, and also, folks, have a wonderful day. You know, this whole entire weeks that were gone by throughout the whole showcasing of the anime, it clearly shows that there are more greatness is yet to come for the spring 2016 animes, and I'm loving how they're doing this. They're showcasing very well. But yes, folks, have a wonderful day. But this is Mr. Zen signing out.